Now, as you reflect this week, Brian and Linda, and all of you listeners, I want you to ask yourself this question: what does flying mean to me right now? What small step of belief or courage can I take towards that dream?
Even if it scares you.
Yeah, because
Right.
she didn't make it the first 2 times.
Because
She froze.
I like the question, what does flying mean to me right now? Even if it scares you. What small step of belief or courage can I take toward that dream? Even if it scares me. Then it acknowledges the fear, but also gives you courage to step forward. In a world of possibilities, why not fly?
You are listening to the Leadership Vision Podcast, our show helping you build positive team culture. Our consulting firm has been doing this work for the past 25 years so that leaders are mentally engaged and emotionally healthy. To learn more about our work, you can click the link in the show notes or visit us on the web at leadershipvisionconsulting.com. Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Freeburg, and in today's episode of the podcast, we are diving into Chapter 4 of Unfolded, Lessons in Transformation from an Origami Crane by Dr. Linda and Brian Schubring. This chapter is where OC, the Origami Crane, our hero of the story, finally takes flight. But flying isn't just about soaring in the sky, it's a metaphor for what happens when we move into the big leagues of life. In our conversation, we'll talk about why self-belief is the foundation of transformation, even when doubt and resistance creep in, how trusted friends and supporters are essential to helping us step into our dreams, and what it means to hold on to your core identity, your map, if you will, even as you unfold and refold into new shapes. Now, if you've ever felt on the edge of a new season or a transition or bigger risks and higher stakes, this episode will help you imagine what flying might mean in your own life. Enjoy. Brian and Linda, welcome back to the Leadership Vision Podcast. You are about to fly on an airplane, I think, tomorrow or the day after, right?
Yes, hopefully.
That's exciting.
Tomorrow,
Oh, I was
the next
totally
day,
not
the
even
next
prepared for
day.
that. Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, as
There is
we
nothing like the feeling of taking flight.
Exactly. As we
I'm asleep.
step into this conversation, yes, Brian immediately falls asleep on an airplane somehow. Or I should say, before we jump into this conversation and talk about chapter floor.
Floor?
Before we jump into this
Dancing on the
conversation
sea,
and
baby.
talk about chapter 4, I'm curious where this fits in the larger arc, the larger narrative of the story. So some folks have probably been joining us every episode as we walk through the book. If you're brand new, don't necessarily go through the whole book, but just kind of how does this idea of fly sort of fit in, and then we'll dive in and unpack that.
Yeah. Well, fly represents the 4th chapter of our book, Unfolded. So the first chapter is Dream, where we're just setting the stage for everything, and you're meeting some of the characters and understanding some of the dreams that the Origami Crane, or OC, has. The next chapter is Play, which is practice in disguise, and we've had some lovely conversations about what does it mean to figure out the places and the people that you enjoy doing life with and what you're learning by the things that you are enjoying in your life. And the next chapter is Try, which is more of the purposeful practice, the intentional practice. And the 4th chapter then is more of the climax of the whole allegory. The climax of the whole allegory is Fly, where OC prepares and actually takes flight.
It's an invitation for people to imagine when they are in a place when they feel the most alive, and what are they doing? It's a place where sometimes people are performing. It could be a place where they're teaching, educating, or mentoring someone. Fly represents those moments in our life that we feel that we have prepared and practiced for. We've maybe spent years in preparation for this one moment where all the pieces seem to come together. We're in that moment when we've taken the risks and we've engaged with courageous action, and we're taking flight, meaning that we're in that flow state. We're in that moment when things seem to be working. We feel that we're most alive when the lights don't burn, and we just have this sense of joy with achieving something that we've been working so hard towards.
Yeah. The thing I really like about this chapter is just this idea of leaning into doubt with courage and moving past kind of the edges of fear.
That's right.
And you see that taking place when she finally makes it up into the atmosphere and all that happens. She kind of realizes that she can only do this sort of after she believes in herself, after she kind of has this realization that like, oh, I can do this. How much of sort of this, I don't know, call it personal growth or this mindset shift or just this ability to kind of persevere despite or in spite of all of those doubts, how much of this whole idea begins with like self-trust, and how does one get a whole bunch of it?
Yeah.
I'd like an extra.
Yeah, an extra supersize me self-trust, please.
Supersize.
Yes, you're right, Nathan. Flight is what happens after we've tried a bunch. And in each of those attempts to try, we've gained a sense of self-confidence or a reassurance, or we've tried something and it didn't work. We improved it. We tried something else. And flight is the result of many things coming together, including how we have recognized our own emotions and how our emotions are in many ways the way that we engage in flight. Our emotions are what propels us forward and actually focuses us on what we're trying to do. So in the process of OC learning to fly, she's also learned how to work with the emotions that she's feeling within her and the emotional energy that's happening around her. When fly happens, the chapter opens by saying that there's a new season. It's a new day. The characters are walking into a new part of the playground. There's so many new things there, but one of the things that doesn't change is the emotions that are accompanying each of the individual characters, including OC, but there has been a maturation in how people have learned to work with their emotions, how they've learned to work with experimentation and try, and all of these steps are leading towards the moment that flight is going to occur.
Mm-hmm.
Right before flight, it isn't that OC has a supersized helping of trust. It is that the time is now here. And I think about the new seasons and the higher risks or the higher stakes and the bigger risks that we often face when we're about to take flight. And we think it's maybe like the big thing that we're going to do in our life. And instead, I want us to think about the new season first before we actually think about flying. So you could think of new season as the first day of school, the literal new season of the year, the opportunity to, like, or when I talk to people that are starting a job, they will say things like, I feel like it's the first day of school. Like, am I going to make friends and what's going to happen in this new season? And perhaps they're even a season executive and there's still some of those nerves, some of those, the acknowledgement of, I have a great degree of trust because I have practiced a ton. Now I'm stepping into this new season, whatever it may be. I still have some of the jitters. Those are just helping keep me grounded a bit. And then the confidence comes in just continuing to move forward. So OC has these friends, which we'll get to in just a moment, but it's almost like the friends are helping her be reminded of what the next steps are. She's just now like staking claim that she is in her new season.
And what's important about this chapter is the chapter does not start with OC in flight. This chapter does not start with OC on the highest platform ready to go. This chapter begins with some of the necessary and process that goes into like the pre-flight process. And that pre-flight process, I think, is really important for individuals to understand, because in writing this chapter, I felt a strong conviction to lay out some of the steps that happen before the flight actually occurs, because those steps, I believe, are so important for someone to be able to prepare for the flight that's coming. When we see people in flight, when they're in that moment, when things are going great for them and they're in the spotlight, we tend to overlook all the steps that it took for them to get to that place in time when they have our attention. And like Linda's saying, these first few pages of this chapter are beginning to lay out who's around us, what's happening, what's changed in the environment, what are some of the pre-flight checklists and folding that needs to happen before flight occurs. And that's an important invitation for all of us to think to ourselves is, what are we going through in those final stages before flight happens to actually take flight? And that's different for all of us.
Yeah. It's interesting. You were mentioning they're not in the same place in chapter 4. Like there's bigger slides, rope ladders, like everything's kind of like elevated, and we can probably all in our mind picture, the progression of playgrounds as our kids get older. That's why I use the phrase big leagues in the opening, and maybe it's because it's October when we're recording this. My favorite baseball team's in the playoffs, and it's just been interesting watching.
You like
some
baseball?
of their, yeah, zip it. But it's been interesting watching some of their younger rookie players kind of fall flat because they haven't maybe had this pressure, or they haven't understood like what it means, and how the veteran players are trying, I don't know, to sort of calm nerves or whatever. But it's interesting. My first question was about self-trust. How do you have that degree of self-trust to tell you, I can do this, I can fly? But then as we see with OC, like she can't fly without her friends helping her, refolding her, all of that. So I guess my question here is sort of, what role do supportive relationships play when stepping into this new season of growth? It seems like we need friends who are just obnoxiously positive cheerleaders. We need friends who can give us some tough love. I guess my real question is, how do you know when a friend is being helpful in the way that you need? How do you know when you've got a friend who's not being helpful? Like, what is the role of friends, colleagues, whatever, and also this degree of self-trust? Does that make sense? It's like you have to be so blindly confident in yourself that you can do it, but then you're still in community, so you still got to have all these people to help you get there.
Yeah, prior to the flight happening, there is a moment in this chapter when OC becomes completely unfolded, and that unfolding process happens with all of her friends helping her. And I think the important piece in that part of the chapter is that before the flight happens, everyone is involved in helping OC achieve her goals. Those characters that are fully ambitious, supportive, developmental, including the friends that are critical, people are somehow involved in that process. I feel that for those of us who are ready for flight, it's important to recognize who's around us to help us. And sometimes we feel that even the critical friends or the people that have maybe a negative perspective may not be able to help in our process. And I think the invitation in this chapter is that, how do we stay open for people to help us without judging the shape or the feeling of the help? And when you think about the shape and feeling of the help that people provide, sometimes, like Nathan, you said, we need someone to come along with words of wisdom, people that know just what to do. And there are also those voices that may seem sharp or critical in the moment, but they still can provide some type of assistance in the final taking shape that we need before that flight actually happens. And so how do we be open and kind to the help that's coming our way and not judging who is providing the help? Because in the moment when flight is about to happen, people's perspectives change on what roles they can play. And sometimes we limit the help of others because of their past and not being open to their help in the present.
That's
It's
good.
true. I know.
Wow, the roles and responsibilities are highlighted in this chapter. And when you start to read through the allegory, perhaps there's times where you're thinking about how you helped someone that was about to take flight. What role did you play? Were you the encourager? Were you the one that had a plan and really helped execute? Were you just in the periphery? Were you secretly jealous and attacking that person subversively or maybe aggressively? And what I enjoy about this chapter is everything is happening. And what we tried to distill down was, in the moment before OC is folded into a paper plane, she starts to dream again. And she takes to her own thoughts, and the characters step in a different way. And that sort of dreaming right before flight is that reminder of some of the principles that we wanted to make sure that were in the book, because there's a part in the book that was Brian's favorite.
And the importance of letting people help is for this reason. There's a moment in this chapter when Rabbit, who's one of the more critical friends, is helping OC fold. In that process of helping OC fold, Rabbit sees her reflection in the slide, and she realizes that she also is made of a map. That metaphor is important because sometimes it's just important for us to let people help because of what they're going to learn about themselves, about their talents, about their potential, about their possibility, because their fight is coming. And sometimes in that process of helping, we learn about ourselves. It's not our time to fly, but it's our time to try.
And I don't think it's lining up a bunch of friends and saying, all right, I need 3 of you to be helping me in a really positive manner.
Yeah.
I think it's even knowing how to be boundaried with the people that are way too critical of, thank you for the feedback, and I'm just going to keep going.
Well, so...
What page you on?
All right, so you can see that.
Yep.
Listener, page 48 is just a flat map. And
Squares don't fly.
Squares don't
there's this part where they realize, all right, they're trying to fold her into an airplane.
Yep.
They're like, all right, I think we need to start over. If we can start from scratch, we can get a better fold. And then she freaks out. She's like, what have you done to me? I'm a map. I'm flat. I'm a square. I think Fox is like, you're not going to squares don't fly. And then I think it's Turtle is like, just chill. We got a plan. Like, we know what we're doing.
That's right.
And so I don't know exactly what my question is. Maybe you can find one here. But like, to me, we're trying this thing. We have a plan. We're thinking forward. We do this, do that. And then these people come around you and they're like, actually, we got to do something in the moment, totally different. How do you not freak out to the point where you just push them aside and whatever, versus like, so there's the self-trust, but there is a tremendous, in that section there, I sense this tremendous amount of trust in these friends, in these people who have helped her on the journey. How do you, maybe this is going back to question 1 around self-trust, but if it was me in that situation, I would be like, they're going to screw this up. They are going to mess it up. And I think one of them is like, we can put you back if you want.
Yeah.
But...
Nathan, one of the themes that is through line with this chapter is trust, like you're naming. At the beginning, it is the self-trust. Do I trust myself with my dream?
Right.
The section that you're pointing to right now, it is about trusting people, trusting process, and trusting place. So you're trusting people that are around you to help you reshape, refold, and reform. You're trusting the process because, like you said, Nathan, someone in this crowd, they had a process. And you're also trusting the timing of the place. Like, I'm in the right place at the right time, and this is my moment. And I really believe that for many people who have experienced moments of flight, they know that there's often a challenge in the middle somewhere where you're just about to be there and the trust elevates and it's going to take others to get you to this next elevation. And without them, it's not going to happen. Because after this scene is over, the next scene is OC in her new shape approaching the highest platform in the playground, and that's all on her own. Like, she is now on her own, trusting in herself again. I've trusted myself in the beginning, I've trusted the process, and now I'm going to trust the action of taking flight.
Yeah, so she goes up there, she falls a couple times, it doesn't work. Eventually, spoiler alert, she gets up in the air and she meets Eagle.
Yes.
And now it's like a different character. It almost, like when I read that, like the Eagle, they have a conversation about, when you go back, you're going to be different. So here's how you might be patient, whatever. But it almost feels like, how do you not leave those people behind? Because now you're a plane and you're flying and you need the wisdom of an eagle. You need you need different things than you did, when you were down on the ground as a flat piece of paper. So how do you, I don't know where the question is there. I guess, like, how do you,
Brian, respond, and then I got something to say.
yeah,
I
thoughts?
hear you. I hear you. I hear you.
We hear you.
Processing.
Yep.
We're going to answer both, and then we have to go back to page 48, which comes before this.
45.
Okay. Is that the flat map?
45, 46. No, let's talk about Eagle.
Okay.
It's what OC goes through just before she takes the platform.
Oh,
Nathan, this part of the chapter where Eagle appears, it's probably one of my most favorite parts of the book because I believe quite strongly that there are Eagle characters in all of our lives. The Eagle represents that person who's quote unquote there.
Yeah.
They are already in flight. They already have like that goal that we've been searching for.
Already doing it.
They're the ones that are already doing it. And it's almost like the Eagle is waiting for you to encourage you, to motivate you, to affirm you that you've done the right things, you're in the right place, and to introduce you to what it's like to fly in this new atmosphere, at this new elevation, to help interpret the perspective and the landscape that you see, to comfort the jitters, and to remind you you were meant to be here all along. And the leaders that I've talked to, they can each identify a person that has been their eagle, that has given them the strength to continue. And I also think that the challenge of this chapter of the book is this: who are you the eagle for?
That's right.
And sometimes I think that we just don't look for people that are flying around us, and this is their first attempt. And it's up to us to be able to say to them, you're in the right place, you're doing the right thing. There may be some jitters and some things that need to be smoothed out, but you're there. Like you're actually where you've meant to be. And I think that's a role and a voice that people need to play more often with each other.
Sometimes eagles surprise us. Because I don't think we often think about what or who we will meet in our next season. So sometimes we get worked up of, can I perform well? You get worked up around, can I actually do this? Can I, take flight? And however you are reaching for your dreams. And when you stop thinking about maybe the negative narrative or just trying to lean into your own positive narrative, I think sometimes positive narratives are limiting. And I think when you lean into a growth narrative, you cannot help but see eagles around you. The people that are waiting for you, already doing what you are seeking to accomplish, that sneak up behind you, that come alongside you, that recognize that this is your new flight. This is your first attempt in this new season, and can recognize the joy on your face, the exhilaration of the wind around you. And I love that moment, and it feels like in that moment, all of a sudden it stops, and the action turns right back into reflection. And there's this moment of flight, spoiler alert again, this moment of flight where OC is like, wait a minute, I've been training for this, now what?
now what? Now what's happening?
So I've been driving for this, but what's my next goal, or what's the next piece that needs to happen? And I like that we highlight that feeling, because you can't help then be an eagle for someone else.
Yeah.
And you can't help but look for the next eagle in your chapter, as well as being gentle with yourself, that it's about the whole growth process, not just a spot in time to check a box about a goal.
Eagles recognize the accomplishment of where you are, and eagles remind us that the imperfections are still there too. Because the crumples and creases that have been a part of OC's story, they're still within the shape of her as she's in a plane. And that's important to recognize as well. And Eagle says these imperfections are reminders of the lessons learned and the risks that we've taken, the vulnerability that we've experienced, and it's all okay.
Eagle is so different than owl, because owl is the drumbeat voice. Owl is present throughout the landing in the playground to coming back to the playground. And eagle is more of a spot in time, a moment in time where that mentor, that encouraging voice, that person that is also pursuing their dreams and their goals just comes alongside.
Yes to everything you're saying. And I also want to go back a little bit.
Yeah.
And also help me understand the difference between try and fly.
Okay.
Because OC gets folded, changed, goes to the top, and still falls, and still fails, and still is like not with the eagle yet. So maybe I'll ask two questions at once, and then you guys can. So the first question, how is that not still the trying phase? Maybe that's question one. Question two then is, how do we continue to celebrate progress even when you're still failing? And I'll just leave with those two actually right now.
The big difference between try and fly is that in try, OC has not completed the reforming and reshaping. The transformation's only half done.
Gotcha.
And in the chapter try, that half transformation is the point.
Yeah.
Because we think we're there, but we're not.
We're only halfway there, as you said in our last thing. Yeah.
In the chapter fly, OC has experienced her full transformation. She has reshaped herself. She's embraced the invitation to change. She's asked for help. And now she has achieved, or she has arrived at a shape that's going to take her to fulfill the dream that she had of flying. And that's the biggest difference is, what does it take now when we have gone through transformation? Is the dream complete yet? And I'm going to, just say, I don't think the dream's complete once transformation. We've been transformed for something that's coming. And in the chapter, there is a moment just before OC goes to the highest platform. She's in the shape of a plane, and she's ready to go and take flight. And she has this moment of pause where several critical things happen. And one of the things that happens in that pause is that she reimagines what it's like to be in flight. So she engages her imagination. And then visualization happens. She looks up and she sees the shiny planes flying through the sky. And that visualization then results in her affirming herself, oh, I know I can do this. And just at that moment, Owl comes in and begins to prime her and get her ready for flight. And in that process, then she names, these are my goals. This is what I'm going to do. I am ready. And all of those steps happen after the transformation occurs and just before the flight happens. That's really good.
That's good.
It's really good.
There, I guess I have another question too.
And the attempts to fly, did we answer that one? Because she does make 3 attempts to fly.
Oh.
Do we need to go to that?
Third time's the charm. That's all.
I think we kind of covered that. I'm gonna leave this in because I like the banter. But I am I'm not gonna read this, but one of my put a red star by it is that I'm pretty sure it's Eagle talking. It's one of the little sidebars. Have you are you really that different?
Yeah.
Are you did you change? I mean, you said that you were meant to fly. Your friends probably knew this about you. So I'm curious what that means, because if the whole thing is about transformation, but then you're saying, are you really that different? Come on. Help me unpack that a little bit, because it's yeah, you're totally different. You're a different shape. You're different folded. You're still made of that map, but you're very different. If, I dismantle my house and build a boat out of the wood, I mean, that's quite different.
Who are you, Noah?
Maybe. I don't know. Kidding aside, do you understand my slightly sarcastic question? Yeah.
I've met so many people that I've seen, become something, they help people, and then when they achieve a new dream, they're surprised. I'm like, you've been doing this your whole time. It just looked a little bit different, or you were a little bit younger, or you hadn't achieved whatever, or you didn't move, but you've been doing the same thing over and over again. Now it's just a little bit nuanced because of the time in life that you're at. I think that happens all the time. People talk about, and they put together these baby steps toward the bigger dreams that is already in them. So I think, what's the surprise? You've been talking like this, you've been practicing this for years. Why are you so surprised that you're flying all of a sudden? You've been practicing.
You've been practicing, you've been trying, you've been playing. And sometimes when someone names a dream, other people get around, like rally around that person. So Nathan, I think about your dream to run Boston 10 years ago, ignited a dream in Brian. And when the two of you ran the Boston Marathon,
What now? What did you say?
You
Did what?
ran
Say it again. One more time.
When the two of you
were running the 2025
Boston
Marathon
that's right.
together,
Thank
step
you.
by step. There to watch Brian, and he even had his eagle wings out, and some of the pictures show that he has his eagle wings out, and because Brian had visualized this race for you, Nathan. And I feel like I was your YC. Like, you're going to have so much fun. If anyone's going to have fun, it's going to be Nathan Freeburg at the Boston Marathon. And you had your own journey of getting your guides and your support system, and to celebrate that with, to be out on the course with Malia and to watch the two of you just live your dreams. That was it was in you. It was in you. It was in both of you. There wasn't a shock, like, maybe you were surprised, or the flood of emotion that comes over you.
Yeah.
But the people that care about you, the people that see you, are like, yeah, that was in you.
Yeah.
You're built for that. You were built to run.
Well, in the same way that you were my Eagles. Yesterday, I had a friend who ran his first marathon here in Portland.
Wow.
Didn't go well, as many first marathons don't. And so I was kind of not consoling him, but just like relating to him. I brought him a pint of ice cream. I was like, this is my tradition. After every marathon, I do this. And I was like, I had a buddy who's done 10 Bostons, more, like crazy fast PR. And he ran his 100th marathon yesterday, and it also didn't go well. You, Brian. That was Brian. And
I was there.
the point I'm trying to make is that one of you said this earlier, but we're often eagles. We're eagles for kind of when someone is an eagle for us in something, we're also an eagle for someone else in that way. Like, we're all at different parts of this journey, and so how do you kind of recognize that and become that eagle for someone as you are also being eagled? Is that a term? Can we say that?
Yes, I like it.
Having that.
I like
Yep.
it.
And that's how the chapter ends.
Yeah.
It ends with the invitation that I think is so universal. Whatever your lived experience is, whatever that flight is for you, there are lessons and wisdom within that experience that are meant to be shared when we return from the flight.
Yeah.
And Nathan, your story is an amazing example that no matter where we are in our journey, we may just be one or two steps ahead of someone else, and they can be the recipient of some of those lessons and wisdom that we've learned, because they're ours to share.
And the best kind of transformation is the kind that benefits humanity.
Ooh. So as we think about what it means to fly in our personal lives, Chapter 4 reminds us that transformation is both thrilling and risky. Flying requires belief in ourselves, support from others, and the courage to embrace our unique maps, folds, creases, and all. For each of us, flying might look different, but the invitation is the same: to trust the transformation, to celebrate progress, and to step into the bigger playground of life with confidence. So now, as you reflect this week, Brian and Linda, and all of you listeners, I want you to ask yourself this question: what does flying mean to me right now? What small step of belief or courage can I take towards that dream?
Even if it scares you.
Yeah, because she
Right.
didn't make it the first two times.
Because
She
I
froze.
like the question, what does flying mean to me right now? Even if it scares you, what small step of belief or courage can I take toward that dream? Even if it scares me. Then it acknowledges the fear, but also gives you courage to step forward. In a world of possibilities, why not fly?
Thank you for listening to the Leadership Vision Podcast, our show helping you build positive team culture. If you found any value from this episode or any of our other resources, we would love it if you would go review us wherever you get your podcasts, follow us on social media, subscribe to our email newsletter, or just send this to someone else who you think might benefit from this idea of flying. You can click the link in the show notes to get more information about us and connect with us, or visit us on the web at leadershipvisionconsulting.com. My name is Nathan Freeburg.
I'm Linda Schubring.
And I'm Brian Schubring.
And on behalf of our entire team, thanks for
For
listening.
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 And
Flying.
flying.
I knew.